Injuries are everywhere. You have Malik Neighbors, he tears his ACL. It's season ending. It looks terrible. You also have Tyreek Hill with a dislocated knee. It bent the entire wrong way, and that's definitely season ending. Trey Benson is on IR for 4 to 6 weeks. He should be probably missing 6 weeks if I had to guess. So, Demercado looks much more interesting. Brock Purdy is out with the toe injury. He's out versus the Rams. But not only that, you have Jawan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall out in this game as well. Jennings has the ankle and the shoulder injury, and Pearsall has re-aggravated his knee injury. So they are both out, and the final man standing in that offense is Christian McCaffrey. Bucky Irving's out with a foot sprain. He was spotted with a walking boot and crutches. Definitely not starting Bucky Irving, even if he somehow plays. He shouldn't be playing. When there's smoke, there's fire, and I'm not going to touch Bucky Irving. Lamar Jackson has a hamstring injury, he's questionable. Even if he plays, it's not good for his rushing upside. He's definitely a limited start. Braylon Allen has the knee injury. It looks pretty serious. I wouldn't even roster him at this point. And Cedric Tillman has the hamstring injury. He's on IR for at least 4 weeks. Everything's brutal. There's 4 bye weeks to talk about as well. I mean, looking at the bye weeks, you have the Bears and Roma Dunze, and you have the Packers with Josh Jacobs, you have the Falcons with Drake London and all of them, Bijan Robinson, and then you have the Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, Jalen Warren. I mean, there's a lot of players out. We're going to be looking at these 14 teams here and ranking them based on week 5 power ranking. But before we rank these teams, I'm going to go ahead and show you a trade that we did. We're going to look at this deal in parts because there are 8 players moving and it's 3 teams involved, so it might be a little confusing, but here we go. Winton receives DJ Moore, Rashee Rice, and Michael Penix. So I go ahead and get Rashee Rice. In exchange, I give away Mike Evans, Jeremy McNichols, Daniel Jones, and Michael Pittman, the Indiana stack. Andrew receives Mike Evans, Jeremy McNichols, Daniel Jones, and Michael Pittman, but has to give away James Cook. And then Richie Snake Sr.'s papa goes ahead and gets James Cook, but has to send DJ Moore, Rashee Rice, and Michael Penix to me. So he's 0-4. He needs a running back. He started Ollie Gordon. So now he goes ahead and gets James Cook along with Zach Charbonnet. So I think, honestly, this helps Richie Snake Sr.'s papa very much with the running back room. It helps I'm in Love Moms too very much with replacing Tyreek Hill and replacing Aaron Rodgers since he's on bye. And it helps me quite a bit because it gives me upside for weeks 15, 16, 17 because I'm already 4-0. Starting with number 14, we are going to go with a team that is 3-1, a team that should be ranked higher than this, but a combination of a really bad injury and really bad bye weeks. We're going to put Marmar here. Marmar 50-50. He was number 3 last week. So he goes down 11 slots. This is the Malik Neighbors team. Not only do you lose Malik Neighbors for the year, that honestly you should drop, you also are missing Caleb Williams, Josh Jacobs, DK Metcalf to bye week. You're going to have to start Woody Marks for Josh Jacobs, and then you're going to have to start Shakir, Olave, and Trey Harris, who doesn't score fantasy points at all. It's not even like Laporta has scored. Olave's team looks awful. You're gonna have to start Tua against Carolina. Honestly, a good matchup for him, but you do lose Tyreek Hill, so I don't know his upside. This team just gets battered. This looks like a terrible matchup for you. Sleeper's giving you a 3% chance because you haven't put in your starters yet, but I think you have a chance. It's just not very high. In 13th, going down 3 spots, is the 2-2 Salty Beaner here. The problem is with this team, you're losing DeAndre Swift to a bye week. You have Jawan Jennings is out, so you're going to have to start Vishal Tootin in exchange for Swift, and you're going to have to start like Michael Wilson in exchange for Jawan Jennings. Not at all excited about the idea of starting Michael Wilson as well as Jaden Higgins. You have to start him, and he's not looked good. He had the touchdown, but he had 1 target that game. Njoku hasn't looked good at all, so you can't start. I guess could start Mason Taylor over him. He looked good this past week, and he's playing Dallas. Like, that's up to you. If you want to start Mason Taylor over David Njoku, you can. As this team stands, you have Mahomes and Daniels. You're gonna have to get some value from one of them, trade one of them, get some value on your starting lineup. Hope it's enough because you're 2-2, but this team is declining. At number 12, we have another 2-2 team. We have Show Me Your TDs. Now this team has gone down 3 slots. It was number 9 last week. Now it's down to number 12. It's mainly because of the Terry McLaurin, Calvin Ridley injuries that honestly I don't know if McLaurin or Ridley will play. And Bucky Irving, like he's not playing for multiple weeks, to be honest. These are good matchups, but he's just not going to play. I would assume he's back week 7, but I don't see a world where he's playing week 5. He's in a walking boot. He's in crutches. That doesn't seem to me like somebody who's playing week 5. And Lamb is not playing week 5. I'd assume he come back week 6, which is good for you, but he's not playing week 5. The good news is you get Demercado, which if you didn't do it, um, if you did it like 47 minutes later, I would have got him instead. Instead, I go get Michael Carter. Uh, Trey Benson's out for 4 to 6 weeks. Demercado's the obvious guy that takes the load, and he's playing Tennessee. He should get quite a bit of work. Otherwise, I think the team is not terrible, but if you have to not start McLaurin or Ridley, then things get ugly where you have to go ahead and start Troy Franklin and maybe Isaiah Bond. I'm really not excited about that. At number 11, we are going to go with Donovan's team here. 1-3. You got to win. Congratulations. You're not out of it. You go up 1 slot here. Drake London is on bye. So this is why I wouldn't explode you in the ranking. You did much better last week, but you're missing Drake London. You can go ahead and put in Chris Godwin, and I recommend you do so. He actually had 10 targets, looked really involved. Unfortunately, only 3 catches, but that's against the Eagles. Imagine the Seahawks. So yeah, definitely start Chris Godwin. And otherwise, I'm not that big of a fan of Palmer Downs. You already know this. But Garrett Wilson looked much better. He's playing Dallas. Should be a smash. But this is where I'll rank you for now, and I want to see more improvement. I want to see if Pacheco can actually do something other than score random touchdown here and there. Uh, and that'll move you up if that can happen. But we'll see. And the bye weeks affect things a ton. In 10th place, we have the 2-2 Richie K. So this team had Jackson Dart pop off against the Chargers, a team that looked to have a good defense. Apparently, Jackson Dart is just him. So against the Saints, I think he's good to destroy, to be honest. To be quite frank, I think he's going to wreck the Saints. You have Henderson against Buffalo. That's not a good matchup for him, but maybe he can get some points. Chase Brown has looked terrible. But maybe you have some luck and the Bengals aren't awful. And JMO's boomer bust play, I'd recommend playing him, but the Bengals don't scare me as a defense. I don't know how many times the Lions are going to throw the ball in a game environment where they're going to be ahead basically the whole game, but who knows? The problem is with this team, you do have Lamar Jackson, who's doubtful. I'm not expecting him to play against Houston. If he does, he's not even going to be that appealing. I would play Dart over Lamar specifically this week, where your rushing upside is probably very limited with his hamstring injury. I'm not going to rush Lamar back, knowing that you have someone in Jackson Dart who has great rushing upside against one of the worst defenses in the league. But yeah, that's about it with this team. We just need to see the running backs produce more. So at this moment, we are at the point where there are 2 0-4 teams, and there's 9 teams remaining. The 2 0-4 teams have not been listed. So that means the 2 0-4 teams are in the top 9. We're going to talk about the one I think is worse this week. I'm in love with Moms 2. He goes ahead, he trades James Cook away, but at least he goes ahead and gets Daniel Jones, who he's starting against the Raiders. That's a smash. Pair him up with Michael Pittman against the Raiders. Still a smash. Devon Achane is going to do great against the Panthers. Trust me. Krosky Merritt is a fine start. Now, I'm not that excited when you look at the attempts. He's been efficient on the ground. Look at the 6.7 yards per carry, but he needs more snap percentage if you want him to be a surefire RB2. And I don't know about Malik Washington. I know Tyreek Hill goes down. He's technically like the wide receiver 2 there, but specifically in this matchup, I think he'll do fine against Carolina. The Panthers just are bad. You can do whatever you want against the Panthers, and it'll probably work. But once you get to these tougher defenses, Chargers, Browns, Falcons, Ravens, who knows with their injuries, but Bills, these are tougher defenses. You're going to have tougher time starting Malik Washington with confidence, but specifically against the Panthers, yeah, you can do it. You can get away with it. Now at number 8, we're going to finally have our number 14 team. So this team went 6 spots higher than last week. Now, part of that is getting James Cook, which he looks electric, right? You go ahead and get a guy averaging 20 points a game, you're going to go up in ranking. Now, who'd you have to give up? Oh, you gave up DJ Moore and Rice, who's giving you no points on the bench, and your backup quarterback. Yeah, that obviously makes sense to go get James Cook. No brainer here for uh, Richie Snake Sr.'s papa. I'm still not excited about starting Charbonnet. He's okay. He can be startable with touchdown upside. Um, Vultures against Kenneth Walker, or if Kenneth Walker's injured, he becomes a league winner. Stroud and Nico, they play Baltimore. I think that's actually going to be a smash play for them. And Quentin Johnson at this point is the wide receiver 1 in LA, so feels very good there. He's playing Washington. I don't expect him to get 19 points per game every game, but if he can go ahead and give you 12, you feel good about it. The longer we go with Brock Bowers, the more I think he'll improve since he's playing with the knee brace. Once that comes off and he starts playing healthy, I think Brock Bowers will start to unlock again, just like last year. But if he doesn't, then there's a real concern. And also starting Ollie Gordon, I'm not a fan of at all, but if you can go ahead and find someone on the waiver wire who's better to start, I would do it. So now we got to the top half, the top 7 teams. In these top 7 teams, we have a 4-0 team, we have 4 3-1 teams, and we have 2 1-3 teams. We'll start with one of the 3-1 teams, Richie Snate Sr. This team doesn't have Bijan Robinson. This is a major problem, but luckily, you drafted a lot of running back depth. You have Kenneth Walker. You can just plug and play him here. And then you can go ahead and start Wan'Dale Robinson, understanding that he might get the most targets in his offense. Now that Malik Nabers is gone and he's playing the Saints, it's a good matchup. I'll go ahead and plug and play him. Again, I would still start Zach Ertz. Despite him being not so great, I would start him over Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram's looked terrible. I mean, that's about it with this team. I could argue that you should start Justin Fields against Dallas over Drake May against Buffalo, but that's up to you. Honestly, I think they're kind of in the similar tier. Fields has the rushing upside, but so does Drake May. He has sneaky upside in the rushing category, so I'm not going to fault you if you want to go with Drake May. I just think Dallas is a terrible defense. Now we're at the top 6. And we got to go with a team that's rising heavily, certified Drake lovers. Now, this team finally gets a win. This was my number 2 team going into the start of the season, only behind my own team. I think this team goes up a lot. Genty obviously has the big game, and Bo Nix actually gets you points. He has 25 points against the Bengals. It's not a tough defense, but it's good to do good in a good matchup rather than to do bad in a good matchup. So now that you have a bad matchup, I want to see if he can actually do good in a bad matchup against the Eagles. Brian Thomas is still finding his own. Start him every week. Don't get coy. He's your first round pick, maybe your second if you drafted Genty over him, but it's in the 1-2 turn radius. Start Brian Thomas every week. I do not care the targets. He's too good. He's too good to bench. You have to start him. And Xavier Worthy's coming back, and he has the 8 targets. He has the 14 fantasy points against the Ravens. He's going to dominate for the next couple of weeks while we're waiting for Rashee Rice to come back. Rice is supposed to get the volume, while Worthy's supposed to get the big playability. And I'm fine with you starting Trey Tucker against the Colts. I think it's a good matchup, but of course, I don't expect too much. You could honestly tell me that he gets 3 fantasy points, he gets 2 targets, he gets 1 catch. I would totally believe that. This guy, if he gets a touchdown, he could do something. Otherwise, he's nothing. Go ahead and start him, see what happens. If he does nothing, then he can bench him. We're down to the top 5. We have 3 3-1 teams. We have 1 1-3 team, and then we have a 4-0 team. Let's go with a 3-1 team that was number 2 rated. It's going down 3 slots. J5 Moto. So with J5 Moto here. Jalen Warren just not playing. Taylor falls down to earth a little bit, but he's still gonna be a smash against the Raiders and the Cardinals, to be honest. Cleveland's a tough defense. I don't expect Jefferson to do as well. Probably 10 points, if you ask me. Travis Hunter hasn't done good enough to warrant keeping him on the starting lineup. I would drop him, or not drop him. I would bench him at this moment, and I would go ahead and start. I would start Darren Waller, and I would go ahead and put Devontae Adams in the lineup over Travis Hunter. You can argue if Darren Waller's out, put Travis Hunter back in. He's still a good talent, but I just don't see him getting the fantasy points in week 5. And Zay Flowers, I think, gets negatively impacted in case Lamar's out. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Cooper Rush is the guy in Baltimore, but I don't think that's the case. Okay, so we're at number 4. So we have 1 4-0 team, 2 3-1 teams, and 1 1-3 team. This is where my reign of terror ends. I have put myself number 4 this week. So I go down 3 slots. I'm no longer in the podium for week 5. Problems with this team. One, you still have Saquon Gibbs. That's awesome. But the problem is I'm starting Darius Slayton and I'm starting Michael Carter. Trey Benson is out. I trade for Rashee Rice. He's a nothing burger right now. Rome Odunze is on the bye week. DJ Moore is on the bye week. So I'm going to have to probably start Michael Carter and Darius Slayton. And if Deebo Samuel doesn't play against the Chargers, I'm going to have to sub out Deebo Samuel for either Rashad Bateman or KaVontae Turpin. That's very bad. I do not want to do that, but I will if I have to. Arizona has a good matchup against Tennessee, which is a terrible team, although Jahmyr Gibbs has an awesome matchup against the Bengals, and Slayton has a good matchup against the Saints. I think this isn't warranted for number 1. I'm going to have to put myself at number 4 here. 4-0 team, only undefeated team in the league, but specifically for week 5, I'm going to put myself down a little bit. Now we're down to the top 3 teams in the league, and in no particular order. These teams are Evan Shavira, 957, who's 1-3, Benedetti, 91, who's 3-1, and Hitten Rugg, who's 3-1. Starting with number 3, 3-1 Benedetti has Bryce Young. He's starting against Miami. It's a good matchup, but Carolina sucks. He has Breece Hall, Chuba Hubbard. Breece Hall's playing Dallas. That's a smash. Chuba Hubbard's playing Miami. That could be a smash. But we don't know if he's playing. He's day to day. Everyone's injured, right? Puka Nacua is the best asset in football, but he's playing against the Niners, a team that they could probably just run the ball and win the game. No one's starting on offense for that team, so it could just be a 14-6 victory, and Puka will be, he'll be satiated. Probably has another 16-point game minimum. AJ Brown's playing Denver. That's going to be a really tough matchup. You saw what Pat Surtain just did against Ja'Marr Chase. AJ Brown is worse than Ja'Marr Chase, so even if he gets open, will Jalen Hurts ever hit him, or will it just sail over his head? Probably just going to sail over his head. And Tucker Kraft's on bye, but you can go ahead and start TJ Hawkinson, who's on your bench, and he's ready to play. He's okay start, and if you hold your breath and you close your eyes, he might get a touchdown. Who knows? Yeah, Brock Purdy's out, so I would go ahead and start Bryce Young, but I wouldn't be too excited about it, even against the Dolphins. I don't know. The Carolina Panthers kind of suck. But you do have the new wide receiver 1 in Miami, in Jalen Waddle, knowing that Tyreek Hill is out for the year with that dislocated knee. So we expect the target share to go up, but the quality of targets to go down since he's going to be force-fed more. And specifically in Carolina, we could actually see a Jalen Waddle breakout game. So this is why we have Benedetti higher. It's why we bring him up 2 slots, especially over the reigning number 1 team in Winton. So now number 2. We know for a fact that whoever's number 1 is going to be number 1 for the first time ever. We know whoever's number 2 will miss out on that chance, but either way, I want to celebrate both these teams. They both have a great chance in week 5 to get the victory. And I'm going to give number 2 to Hitten Rugg, 3-1, which means Evan is number 1. We'll get to that later. But with Hitten Rugg, he has Jared Goff starting against the Bengals. He can go ahead and start him, or he can start Jalen Hurts against Denver. That's up to you. Honestly, Hurts has been bad, but he has good rushing upside, a lot of touchdowns in Philadelphia. So Do whatever you want with this. I know Denver's a tougher matchup than Cincinnati, but I don't know how much Goff is going to have to throw the ball. I know Montgomery's got to probably smash JMO or Javonte Williams, sorry. Excuse me. He's playing the Jets. That could be a good matchup. They could be ahead. This could be high scoring because every game in Dallas is high scoring since they have no defense. You have the number 2 receiver in the NFL right now in Amon-Ra St. Brown. He got 22 fantasy points after playing 2K the day before the game. He's playing Cincinnati. He's got a low effort 20 point this game. I'm fucking confident in that. No one's stopping this guy from just killing the Bengals. And what's interesting is Jonnu Smith is out with the bye week. You have no Ricky Pearsall, so who do you start instead? You start Chigakonkwo, which I'm fine with. This is probably the best start you could do, even though he gets not even 1 point. He could have a okay game against the Cardinals. You're just going for 5 points, right? And then Jalen Tolbert. I'm not a fan of Jalen Tolbert, though I drafted him like round 18 quite a bit. Against the Jets, he could do something, but after CeeDee Lamb is gone, I don't expect him to do basically anything. So this would be the game that you start him. I'm fine if you want to start him, but I don't know what his upside is. And at number 1, we have the 1-3 Evan Shavir in 957. Okay. So let's get into it. Immediately, you have the best quarterback in the league in Josh Allen playing the Patriots, a team that hasn't been able to stop Josh Allen. Running backs, you have Quinshon Judkins, who's breaking out like an absolute monster. He gets 19.5 fantasy points against the Lions, a team that has a okay defense. So does Green Bay. Playing Minnesota, another great defense, but he's playing them in London. Weird things happen. I expect Judkins to do great. Jordan Mason had a bad week, but he gets 16 carries for 57 yards. There's still no more Aaron Jones, so you go ahead and start him. And Scadaboo has the best matchup you could ever ask for against the Saints. So, I mean, it's just a smash. His running backs are a smash, but if you look at the rest of his team, it's actually decent. You have Hunter Henry, who's playing Buffalo. You can go ahead and start him. He had the 25-point game in week 3. If you expect him to get a touchdown, this is the guy to start. Otherwise, you can go with Dallas Goedert. That's up to you. Yeah, but I think Denver is a tough defense to go against if you're Goddard. So if you want to go ahead and not play him, especially with the injury concern with this knee, which everyone has an injury concern apparently, you can go ahead and start Hunter Henry. And then understand that this team has no buys. So you can go ahead and start Jamar Chase against Detroit. He's too good to bench. You never bench Jamar Chase. If Jake Browning is anything, then Jamar should get 13 points. You also have Lad McConkey, who's been extremely disappointing through 4 weeks, but he's still getting the targets you want. And honestly, he's still the same player. He's just not getting the catches, and he hasn't gotten a touchdown yet. I have less concerns than what most people have, but it's still a little concerning that Quentin Johnston and Keenan Allen's getting so much work. And you can go ahead and start Christian Kirk if you want. He's playing Baltimore. Tougher matchup, but they're going to have to throw the ball. The alternative would have been Xavier Legette, but that's up to you. I would probably just start Christian Kirk, understanding Legette. This is his first week back from the injury, so I'm not expecting the world. You're the team that survives the bye weeks and the injuries the most, and you should clearly get a win over Marmar here, who has a 3% chance to win. I know Caleb Jacobs, they're not going to start them, but I would say that your team is ready to smash, and you're probably going to go to 2-3. You're probably going to be a threat in this league, especially if everyone stays injury free, which I don't think any other team could accomplish. But congratulations, you dodge injuries perfectly, and you're going to be first place for week 5. But I think that's about it for the video. Hope you enjoyed. Like if you want, and I'll see y'all next week.